My mom thinks this guy is nice, but he's following me somehow. This guy too, Look at him. That's what they do. Now he was gonna come up here. Yeah, yeah. See how they walk? I told you. Here they come. They all work together. That guy, the guy walking the dog, my mom thinks he's nice. And he's another one that throws shit over here. They're all involved, and with Philip shit too. But half them I recognize on the other side, on Hawthorne and Prairie, between whatever. But I ain't never seen him. And there's a lot of people coming through. And it's not just because of the hotel. You saw that guy, he thought he was going to come up here, but he noticed that I had the camera on. So this guy and everything. Yeah, I'm on it. I'm on it. They're so desperate, it's not even funny. They need to give up and go away because, they're going to fall with the people. And, at least, bigger people in the court systems and stuff, they have things that they can sell to pay back. These people have nothing, and to pay back. And so you're going to just end up doing a lot of jail time, But yeah, they're all coming around. And it's sad. It's very sad. But anyways, it's sad for them. I feel, God says to have compassion, And I do, but to a degree. I have compassion for those who have compassion also for others. So when the people that are very compassionate for others that I've dealt with in my life, throughout life, is, it was a blessing to go through those people, those ones. And, they were a blessing. They taught me things. I taught them things. But these type of people are not a blessing. They're a curse to themselves, to their own families. And it's sad. It's very sad. And I just hope that they're unbelievers. These are ones that are very stubborn, like the Pharaoh. And and the way, God had to destroy them in those days. In this day and age, it's going to be a different way. But he's angry. They've been coming around, and you saw that Mexican guy do that. That's what they do. He's going to walk on this side, but we have a curb right here. You see the curb? Watch. Here's the curb right here. And you can see the curb. And he's walking from over there, and he's walking towards me. Me, not the curb. He's walking towards me, my car, like gonna snip it, and that's what they're doing. They're hitting the bumpers. They're hitting the bumpers. It wasn't like that, and there's a bunch of other shit on the door on the other side. And, and the bumpers, the tops, and the front, and everything. But, I don't care. It's a materialistic thing, but this is a way for me to show them I know what you're doing. And, I'm sorry. They're making themselves known. And so anyways. But, they need to go buy their own shit. And if you have your own shit, bump rock to somewhere else. And they're coming over here leaving a bunch of rocks that they walk through right here. And they leave a bunch of rocks, and every day, and there's nothing coming up. There is nothing coming up. Every one of these people come by and they drop rocks, and they act like they're walking their dogs. And we don't know where they live, like we do. Like we know they go that way, and they live a couple blocks up that way, but they come and they're very rude. So nothing to do, like zombies. They're like zombies, and that's what God is saying. They're zombies. That's what He's telling me. They're like a zombie, if that's how you want to see. And to remember, it's like, they can get in trouble for things or get caught for things, but they'll still do it again. It's like a thief. It's the same thing. A thief, a professional thief, that's all he does is steal whatever he can and how he can. And some are in certain businesses of the thieving and some is not. But anyways, I'm just, taking it daily and just kicking back. I'm not really worried about them. I'm more worried about my mom, and I think it's disgusting because a lot of people around here know my mom is ill, and they still keep coming around doing that. So, fuck them. May God destroy you and send you to hell, burning fires of hell. And that's how I look at it, and that's how I would tell you. My grandmother would have said the same thing to you. That's how I learned it. You go to the fire of hell. And I'm saying the same thing too, because you have parents and just because, a lot of them, they don't have no support because they're very bitter. Some of these kids got thrown out years ago. And I'm talking years ago. They got thrown out and young because they were young kids, young teenagers and young, pre-18-year-olds and 19-year-olds that tried to rule their parents' homes. And they had fathers in their homes, a lot of them. And they weren't going to put up with that shit, so the fathers are the ones that threw them out. Because, you have addictions and shit, and they do the same thing. Go there and start screaming and hollering. You can't do that. You can't do that. Obviously you can't because your parents threw you out. So that's telling you no, and they still do it. And so, there are some people that kids that have killed their own parents and stuff just because they have rules. And that's really sad. And you don't own your parents and they don't own you. If they still kind of try to help you a little, take that as a grain of goodness. Good grain. Because, at the end of the day, honor your mother and father. My mom is cruel because she raised 4 boys and she's a single mom, so I see her as very cruel to me. But at the end of the day, I have to look at her life and see that she had it crueler than I did because the times were, they didn't have toilets, they didn't have the conveniences that we have today. And so I understand life more than they do, and I'm able to overcome. And see, that's the thing, is kids want to rest and live in the state of their mind in the past. It's like they don't say to themselves, I don't hear kids, that we had, grow up in our time, our kids. I don't hear them saying, that they're going to do on their own, that they understand that, things had to be strict because of that, because you guys had to work. Now I understand because I don't have a house now or whatever it is, that you guys always tried to. And, once we split up, their dad and I, it was harder. They stayed more with their dad because, he never paid child support to me, ever. So, and he wasn't willing to because he didn't make so much. So he understood that it was him that was going to have to do it because I was still paying child care. Now we're split up. I mean, not child care, but their health insurance. I kept that up. I never stopped paying the health insurance for them until they were over the age of 18. And so I never stopped doing that. So it was very hard on both of us. So he didn't ask me. He kept one. I kept one. And my son Lorenzo moved with my mom because we were starting to have a lot of problems, and he didn't understand my son's disability, And so, and I didn't completely understand it either, but it was when I saw that he was not going to complete to the end, and so we started having problems and stuff, and so I decided to leave because they tried to bully me, you know, and his kid, not Lorenzo, but his kids, my kids, my other two, they would try, in certain senses, they try to bully me into do, like this is my dad's house. It was single. It became a solo thing, and it was like, no, I was in charge. The house was always real nice, very clean. Everything was in order. I worked. You had your health insurance. Everything was functioning the way it was supposed to function. And so it wasn't out of order. Here comes that guy. Look, that guy. Here he is. And I'm glad I was filming. That's Randy Parks. That's the one that pulled my top off one time. Did the string on my top. That looks, yeah, I think that's Randy Parks. Because I yelled at him earlier. I didn't yell at him, but I just said, hey, Parks. Yeah, I remember that time when it was like 7th or 8th grade. I had a halter top on and he yanked on it. He pulled the string while I was talking to my friends. And I turned around, I kicked him in the nuts. I kicked him hard. That guy just threw a rock right there. He's a punk. He's a little bitch and needs to go. Get the fuck out of here. Anyways, he just threw a rock. Feel it. So anyways, but that's pretty much what happened, a little bit. But yeah, this is these people are very sick here. That's what I can tell you. They walk around, they come like zombies and stuff. Sorry, you can't have my money. You can't have any more of my money. So you're not scaring me away. Because I'm going to tell you, if there were no police, you guys better look out. Okay? That's all I got to tell you. Because especially you're coming at me, I ain't going to go look for you and do this and this and that. No. You think you can do shit without the with police, and think that we can't do nothing because you got the police on your side and they're related to you. Well, they know what they did, and I can tell you another story about a friend of Brandon's, because when I first became homeless, I went to my uncle's because Jose and I got married, and he's the one that pursued it. He was like, no, he was all pursuing it, and 1 month later, he left. It was all a plan. This was all a plan. And he took off, and there was nothing. I mean, why would you even marry somebody if there were problems? Okay? So, anyway, and then he kept pursuing me, and I was like, no, I didn't want to. And I don't think we're married. I don't think we should be married anyways because of what he did. And, everything he did. He was a bastard. Just like everybody said that worked around him. They didn't like him at all. I don't like him either. That's why I left. But I know what he did, and he keeps doing it, and he keeps bringing people back, and of course they have to do something because he did me wrong. They all did me wrong. They went and did paperwork they shouldn't have did. I was going to say something about something else. It'll come up later. I'll listen to the video. But, it's really sad. I'm really in despair for everyone. Because you really don't know what you did to yourself. But I'm sure the feds by now do. too much technology now for you to even be playing lottery on somebody else's game. I'm just saying, that's very ignorant to do. Take that kind of shame and embarrassment on your own family. Like the Mendez boys, that's what you guys are all looking like. Mendez boys. You know, but you know, the outsiders are more like, we won't kill our mother, but we're gonna come and kill yours. Your mother's an ugly bitch. Get out of here. She doesn't even compare to my lineage. Okay, she don't compare. You know, God doesn't measure the heart. He doesn't measure the beauty from outside. And I had it too. People get old, and I don't have all that freaking. If I had a facelift and you know all this stuff, no, I'm not going under that shit for no one. My grandmother wouldn't either. And neither would Philip, and that's why people know I'm original. That's why I walk around and every time I see a shirt that says original, I get it. Because, you know, people understand more logos and everything, so that's my, you know, that's my favorite logo. One of them is that original. Original people, they don't do anything. They just, you know, when I die, I'm gonna tell you, I'm gonna shed this like this like a snake, except for my whole skin's gonna be shed. Why would I spend dollars when I could, you know, have that much more to do something for myself, or to take care of myself, or to help someone else? One of my loved ones. Why would I do that? And my grandmother, she knew. I was like, because maybe she used to hear me say certain things. Because when I first saw that and I was young, like breast implants, I didn't like that. I was like really grossed out by that shit. Believe it or not, you know, real is real, whether they're perky, young, and saggy later, it don't fucking matter. You're gonna shed it. Hell no, I ain't gonna do that. People get sick like that. Girls they were leaking. Girls were getting sick and getting cancer and shit like that from that stuff. So no, I wouldn't do that.